Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. That's my guy.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Guilty as Charged podcast, coming to you live on a Saturday morning. My name is Steven, and I am the host, as always. Joining me this morning is my good friend, Tyler. Tyler, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing well, man. I love these Saturday morning streams. Just nice to talk to everybody, kind of shoot the shit. So we'll see what everybody wants to talk about. Throw it in, talk about whatever you want. Some the Night of the Seven Kingdoms predictions, whatever.
Yeah. So we'll take some questions, jump around the chat as we always do on these Saturday shows. We do have some news that we will be discussing briefly, not anything crazy, but we do have to touch on some of the Chargers coaching staff hires, as well as a new change for the Chargers in terms of the draft. So they're potentially getting a compensatory pick. So we'll touch on that in a second as well. And then some betting numbers have come out about the Chargers win total for 2026. So we'll briefly discuss that. And then, like I said, we'll touch on some questions, all that good stuff to close out the show. Before we begin, of course, I have to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks, the best and easiest way to consume daily fantasy sports. You and I make decisions every single day, what to eat, what to wear, etc. Maybe you're golfing, maybe you're playing pickleball, whatever the case may be. Your choices on Prize Picks is the one place where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks is super easy to use. All you have to do is pick two players and multiple statistical categories, and that is all you need to build a potential lineup. They also have new features that they roll out every so often, including an early payout, which is the brand new one. So if your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So please go download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code GUILTY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code GUILTY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Okay, let's touch on the staff hirings here for the Chargers. We've been waiting for these notifications to come through, and they finally did yesterday afternoon. So Butch Berry is officially the Chargers offensive line coach, as expected, as reported. We'll just jump around the Chargers press release here. Julian Campenni is going to be coming over as an assistant defensive line coach who spent the previous seasons at Rutgers. Rob Everett also coming from Miami to join the Chargers as an offensive assistant, former Michigan graduate for what it's worth. And then Adam Gase, not a passing game coordinator, which I think is good, passing game specialist for the Chargers. And then Chandler Henley, who's worked mostly in the NFL with offensive line and running backs, will be coaching the tight ends, obviously taking the place of Annie Bischoff. Denzel Martin will be coaching the assistant outside linebackers with Dylan Roney, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Max McCaffrey coming over from Miami, following Mike McDaniel as the running backs coach. And then Sean Spence, formerly of Western Michigan, will be the Chargers linebackers coach. So that was kind of the big one with Navarro Bowman's departure. But any thoughts on any of those coaches, Tyler?
Nothing unexpected. I think I was looking for, there was a report that the Chargers were going to hire Jimmy Thompson from Vanderbilt as their Nichols coach or DB's coach or something. I don't know if that was a just in case somebody like Klingscale left or someone like Adam Fuller left. So maybe there was something there, but he's not on there. Adam Gase not being pass game coordinator sounds good to me. Granted, I don't know. Maybe who cares? Whatever. I'm over it. So Adam Gase is on the team officially, and hopefully he brings something positive. We've highlighted some of those positives. The one that I think a lot of Chargers fans pointed out in terms of what was not there was a run game coordinator in name. That obviously could just be Mike McDaniel himself. He has plenty of members on the staff who can do that kind of role. We thought that maybe could be Henley. Maybe Butch Berry could have that tag on him as well. But nope, no run game coordinator, no pass game coordinator as far as I'm aware. So I don't think it really matters. Those all go to Mike McDaniel, who just gets to be the offensive coordinator. Right. And I trust him to do whatever. So I'm not sad they don't have a run game coordinator, but it was, worth noting, I guess.
Yeah, I think as you're building a first staff, obviously the Chargers staff is not new. Sometimes you're trying to poach coaches who need to be promoted in that regard in order to leave their current team. It didn't seem like any of these coaches were really necessarily requiring that promotion to have that kind of tag. So I think this is a situation where Butch Berry is going to be heavily involved, Max McCaffrey will be involved, Chandler Henley will be involved, and a lot of these guys have been with McDaniel for years, and so I think there's going to be obviously a lot of continuity there. My biggest curiosity of like Mike McDaniel heading into building this coaching staff out is how many of the Harbaugh guys would he ultimately keep, and the answer was not many. Obviously, this is Sanjay Lal is sticking around and Shane Day is sticking around, but Shane Day has been with McDaniel previously back in Washington and San Francisco, very much rooted in that kind of conversation. Lal's not really like a Harbaugh guy. He was obviously hired by Jim Harbaugh, but he's not like rooted in the Jim Harbaugh offense, so to speak. And so, Albert Breer mentioned that they were going to try and like mesh the two worlds, and they very might still do that. But they pretty much clean house. Sanjay Lal, Nick Hardwick, and Shane Day are the only holdovers as far as I can tell. So basically a brand new staff on offense for the Chargers, which I think is good, but I'm curious how that's going to work if they really are going to try and mesh the offense with Harbaugh or not. You might have been nice to have some more Harbaugh guys around.
Yeah, definitely. As far as the meshing of the stuff, I don't know. It changes the way I've been watching prospects. Not that it changed my evaluation, just Keelan Rutledge is not going to be a Charger in May. I'm pretty sure he's going to be sticking as a Cade Mays big guard that ain't moving kind of guy. So it's interesting to see how much might change or will change. Sanjay Lal, great. I'm not going to try. Like my first thought was, oh, maybe this means they'll keep lots of continuity and like they're just set with the three receivers that they have plus KLS and they're not going to change anything. Maybe Keenan comes back, but I don't think I'm going to read too much into it. It's natural that I do, but I'm going to try not to.
Yeah, I agree with that. On the defensive side, we mentioned Sean Spence, who's going to be the new linebackers coach coming over from Western Michigan with Chris O'Leary. I think I'm excited about this hiring. Obviously, I think every coaching staff should have a few former players on staff. Obviously, they really benefited from having Navarro Bowman and his experience on there. And Sean Spence was not anywhere close to that kind of player. But he played 7 seasons in the NFL, 2012, 2017, was a 3rd-round pick from the Steelers. So there actually is some overlap with him and Denzel Martin, who was his former position coach in that regard. So, some interesting ideas to pull from there with kind of having that Pittsburgh Steelers background. And we know that Chris O'Leary blitzed a lot, in college. And how is that going to change here with the Chargers? Having some guys rooted in the Pittsburgh, background, I think could help him kind of make that his own stamp. So I'm excited about that. I think Denzel Martin being the assistant outside linebackers coach is legitimately like a really, really good hiring. Just given his experience in Pittsburgh and the development that he's been able to pull out of, Alex Highsmith and Nate Herbig and all those guys. Obviously, TJ Watt was developed by the time he kind of took over there. But really, really good hire there. I think it kind of helps set the Chargers up in case, Dylan Roney gets, more interest again next year. And Martin can kind of just step right in going forward after that.
Yeah, they are super lucky to get Martin. I can't even believe that that's an option for them. I'll take anything from that Steelers defensive side, particularly in the trenches. We thought it would be a battle when the Chargers played the Steelers this past season. It's because of the trenches guys, the edge rushers, the interior defensive linemen. I'll pull anything from that group, no problem. So they're very lucky to have a position coach as an assistant coach like that on the team.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Any other takeaways by the coaching staff, Tyler?
Nah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And yes, Max McCaffrey, older brother of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next thing on here that we have to discuss is the Chargers are now projected to get a compensatory pick for the J.K. Dobbins situation. Obviously, the Chargers applied the transition tag to his contract, which allowed them to either bring him back or potentially, get that compensatory pick for him if a team signed him to a certain contract and he hit certain incentives. And even though he only played 11 games for the Broncos, he did ultimately hit those incentives. It would have been nice, obviously, if he had been able to play just a little bit more and not get injured and, maybe make some more money. So currently projected to be pick 214 in the 2026 NFL draft. But good news for the Chargers that they are no longer projected to have just 5 picks. Instead, they'll have 6. Still, I think should be potentially trading around here. So that was according to Daniel Popper and Over the Cap. The nice situation here is, the Chargers have had some good success in the 6th round under Joe Ortiz.
Yeah, I'll take any at bat. At one, it just makes our offseason that much more interesting because now Alex pointed out, now we can do sicko, day 3 running back agenda stuff, and it's still alive. And I think they need, I don't know what it is or where, but I have a feeling like linebacker, safety, or something. Just one of those dart throws, whether it's depth or special teams or both. I think that just feels like a natural spot to start taking some of those guys. Lots of turnover for Fickens' group last year. Would be nice to have another, 3-4 year player there. Maybe Mickens takes a bigger step this year. So you need another guy behind him, preparing for life without Tony Jefferson, somebody behind Marlo Wax, whatever. I think there's a lot of options there. So it's nice to have this extra one here. Sucks that 2 of the comp picks are being canceled out by Mekhi Becton and Najee Harris, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. So this is technically for Christian Fulton then, not J.K. Dobbins. Like J.K. Dobbins is just adding to the formula, not necessarily that's the pick they're getting.
Correct. Yes. So because J.K. Dobbins, if I'm not mistaken, because J.K. Dobbins met a certain threshold, he's now the one that cancels out Najee Harris, and so it's the Christian Fulton pick. I ain't gonna argue. I don't want the 7th round one. I want the 6th round one. So, but I believe because of whatever Dobbins did, it's now Fulton's is open.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, obviously it would have been nice to have that extra 7th or extra 6th or whatever for Becton and Najee Harris. So a good reminder that when it comes to the compensatory pick formula, it's all about players that you are losing and gaining from an external standpoint. So I get the question a lot, will the Chargers get, a compensatory pick for X, Y, or Z? And Frank, it always just depends on who you're losing, who you're gaining. Obviously, if you are signing your own players back, that does not factor into the compensatory pick formula. So we know that Joe Ortiz is going to want to get some more compensatory picks going forward in the future. I am curious how that kind of affects like the Zion Johnson situation or potentially the Odafe Owe situation, and how they might, maneuver around the market in that regard with players to try and get those compensatory picks in the future. So if you are uncomfortable with the Odafe Owe signing and it gets up to like $25 million, that would be a nice compensatory pick. I personally would just rather have Owe back on this team.
Yeah, but at the same time, as we had mentioned, okay, so if you like this sort of thing and you want to play this game, Owe walks, Mac returns, let's say, you sign Bradley Chubb, who was released, doesn't count against the comp pick formula, and you're good from there. It has very much so been their MO. I feel like they've been 50-50 on a free agent or not a free agent, whatever. But as soon as it feels like there's a player released, the Chargers just feel like that's just an added incentive for them. They've been very much on top of that the last couple of years and bringing guys in. So we'll see. Again, I agree with you that Owe would be my preference. Just bring him back. I don't really care if it gets you a 3rd or 4th round pick, and I do. Yeah. But I'd rather just get the guy that's really good than see what the 3rd or 4th round pick could be.
Yeah, I think for me that is definitely more of like a offensive line situation that I would be monitoring. So to me, I would rather pay a premium for the edge rusher than like
totally
deal with what comes with the offensive line situation. Obviously, if they're going to go out and pay Tyler Linderbaum a lot of money, they're not going to have a really good chance of getting a compensatory pick anyway. But hypothetically speaking, with like the Zion Johnson situation, if his market gets up above, $18-19 million, as, Aaron Banks in that situation did, last season, there's quite a few guards who have been cut. Obviously, James Daniels, I wouldn't like pay him as a starter, but Elton Jenkins is potentially a cut candidate in Green Bay. Ben Powers is a cut candidate in Denver. And then Graham Glasgow, former Michigan Wolverine, is a cut candidate in Detroit. So 3, three veterans of different quality that could be potentially on the Chargers' radar to, help you get a compensatory pick because they are being cut and you're potentially losing Zion Johnson for a big kind of contract. So that to me is where I would rather play the game than at edge rusher, where you're playing a dicey game with a first year defensive coordinator if you're losing Odafe Owe, in my opinion, and kind of taking away that 3 edge rusher look.
Yeah, and unless he goes for some crazy number, he's really making like edge 15 money. I really don't care if he's he's not Max Crosby because he's not getting paid like it. So very curious. So Drew Dahlman, 14 a year, got a 4th round. It says Aaron Banks here, 4th round pick. Who was the highest paid interior offensive lineman last year? Was it Banks?
It was Banks, yeah.
Okay, so that netted them a 4th. Zion probably tops that in terms of value. Gosh, you got 19.25 mil a year.
Yes,
that's still
yes.
that's still crazy to me, man.
Yeah, we wanted the Chargers to be aggressive at last year at the guard spot, and Aaron Banks and Will Fries were kind of like the 2 guys, and both of them were not good for their respective teams in 2025. No. So Fries, I think, was bottom 3rd. Like he was barely above Mekhi Becton in pass blocking efficiency rating. So it was not a great guard free agency group last year.
No, not for that money. So yeah, 29 pressures for Banks last year. Ugh.
Yeah.
But the Packers too, who just are always a consummate great line, or they were when I was growing up.
Yeah, and Green Bay is going to be potentially losing like Rasheed Walker. So
yeah.
I feel like they've just been like cycling through offensive line combinations the last couple of years.
Yeah, and just to like not put it to rest, it'll keep coming up. No, they don't get a comp pick next year because of Minter. That could have potentially been a Chad Alexander thing had he been hired away, but he's white, so no. There's a non-minority.
Yeah. We'll see about Chad Alexander. Next year potentially feels more likely. He's been I think he had 1 interview last year. He had a couple this year. So things kind of build a lot more slowly from a GM standpoint than they do on a head coaching standpoint. Like Ian Cunningham, for example, who's the Falcons GM now, it took him 3 or 4 different cycles of interviews to finally get a job. And so hopefully for Chad's sake, next year is the year. The Vikings obviously fired their GM recently. I don't think they're doing interviews. So I think they're just going to do that in the offseason. So, or in the summer rather, after the draft. So maybe that's kind of a Chad Alexander situation to monitor. But yeah, we'll see. I think that's probably a 2027 2027 thing for Chad.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, last one here before we get to some questions. The Chargers win-loss total has been set by the Vegas side of things at 10.5. I should have pulled the full list up.
I can pull it up.
Because I know that the Chargers are technically the favorites to win the AFC West at this current time as well. 10.5 is a big number. I think last year was 9.5 in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken. So up 1 win from previous seasons.
Where is it? Okay, first of all, I'll just say 10.5 wins. You cowards. Smash them more on that one. I don't even care. You know how we are. We're usually more conservative with this.
Yeah.
10.5 wins. Come on. I think I saw that where is it? The gosh darn Chiefs were also at 10.5. I'm like, there's no way, guys. There's no way.
That's aggressive. We have no idea what Mahomes is going to look like after the ACL. And it was an ACL in December.
So notable ones: Bills, Ravens, 10.5 wins. Bengals 9.5, I guess. Broncos 9.5. Texans 9.5. Chargers 10.5. Is 10.5? There's no way 10.5 is the highest. Is there any team above that? Wow.
Like in the AFC?
No, a lot of people either. Seahawks 10.5, Eagles 10.5, Rams 10.5, Chiefs 10.5, which is nuts. Lions 10.5. Huh. I feel like there's always one guy that 8 teams favored. Good call.
I wonder. I'm surprised Seattle's not higher because they just won the Super Bowl and they have like $100 million in cap space. So they feel like a team that would be like 11.5, 12.5 ish.
But weird. So I guess the Chargers are just tied with 8 teams for 10.5.
Kevin says that the Chargers opened with the third best odds to win the AFC behind two first-time head coaches in Buffalo and Baltimore. Baltimore
I think they
is
should
at
be
second.
Buffalo's first.
I assume so.
I understand why someone would buy the Ravens more. Bills, I don't know, man. They just seem like there's like a bomb sitting in there somewhere, and it's gonna blow up at some point, which it already kind of half did. But I don't know, man. The situation just seems a little odd.
Yeah, I do like the staff that Joe Brady put together up there. Hiring Jim Leonard as your defensive coordinator is a good move for him. And he knows Josh well. Like the offense is going to be great there, almost regardless of who's calling plays at this point. So I think, given their division, I am not going to.
Yeah,
They
fair.
just went to the Super Bowl, but I'm not going to trust the Patriots fully again next year. And they're going to have a much more difficult schedule. The Jets are going to be horrible. The Dolphins are going to be horrible. The Dolphins win total was 4.5. So they're going to be awful next year. They're blowing it up, and they're going to have a ton of dead cap. So the Ravens, I think, are going to be in a tougher spot because theoretically the Bengals should be better. The Steelers should still be tough. The Browns probably not going to be expecting much from them, but so we'll see what that looks like.
The Jets are really at 6.5. Come on, guys.
We don't even know who their quarterback is. They might have to just run it back with Justin Fields.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. 6.5 is bold. They're really bullish on Arjun.
The Arjun X Factor. But yeah, I think the Chargers, there's going to be a lot more like offseason hype about them this year, even though they kind of flamed out in the playoffs, right? But the Mike McDaniel factor of that is just too hard to ignore. And so I think there was, heading into last, offseason, there was still kind of like, okay, like, you overachieve in 2023, 2024. Jim Harbaugh's first season, your roster's not great. Like, let's wait and see. And now with just the Mike McDaniel factor, I think people are very much more excited about what this is going to look like. And, depending on how free agency goes, the draft, always that stuff. But I think there's just going to be a lot more excitement about the Chargers in the offseason than there have been in the past couple.
Yeah. Kind of good point here. Don't do hard knocks on the Chargers. I would kill for an AFC West hard knock. It seems like national champ for Mendoza, probably to the Raiders, former national champion, Mahomes recovery, McDaniel and Harbaugh, whatever the Broncos are. Bonix with his own recovery, I guess, right? This would be a fun year for it.
Yeah, I agree. And the Chargers we deserve an actual hard knock season. Like the 2020 did not count. So
yeah, they just protested at practice, and it's like, and Fahoko did the haka, and that's about it.
Yeah, and Melvin Ingram showed up to camp in that one crazy car, and that was like it for the Chargers. And it was like, here's Jared Goff's golf course in his backyard, and here's Sean McVay.
Right.
Yeah, because they shared it. So super weird. Would love to see it. AFC West, if they wanted to do the in-season one, I think would be really fun. That has been more interesting to me than like the training camp one, honestly. Just like watching how teams operate like during the season has been kind of cool. So I would love to see the Chargers get that kind of insight.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, you guys, 25 minutes in here. So we'll wrap that conversation up, and then we are going to take some questions from the chat. Got a couple super chats already. We'll jump around and have a good conversation. Before we get to that point, our audio audience is going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back after this with our live Q&A. All right, so Envy Talent in here getting us started says that he's kind of over the J.K. Scott style special teams. The risk of him shanking outweighs the benefits of hang time, in my opinion. I wish we would make a change there.
I tend to agree. I think it's very frustrating when in the biggest moments he's having these issues. It's not like, week 2 against the Panthers and shucks. It's specifically in these big moments you feel the choke job about to happen, and it always does in prime time. last 3 games of the season. That game against the Texans, the Patriots, it's not great. His value is probably more than I thought, given the holder stuff. I mean, I just never cared. I didn't care about a holder. They generally, to speaking, have never messed up my life. And yet in this past season, it's like, dang, that guy's vote him to the Pro Bowl just for being a holder. And so I understand why, Fickham would go, hey, look, that's a big part of the operation. He bailed us out last year.
Yeah.
It's important, but man, those misses on the punt are tough.
Yeah, I think J.K. Scott is overall like fine. I don't think he's as bad as some people make him out to be. The hang time, that's just how Ryan Ficken wants to operate. Like that's the key piece of how he wants to design his punt coverage, and it gives the Chargers just like that extra half tick for the gunners to get down there. And that helps a lot. And when you have the right gunner, you have the right long snapper, his punts are much more impactful. Do I want competition for him this year? Yes, absolutely. What does that look like? Probably an undrafted free agent of sorts. I don't know if I want the Chargers to be like aggressive on the free agent market, but I'm not opposed to trying to seek out an upgrade. But I do think he's overall like fine. It actually could be a lot worse. He's not, a Michael Dixon kind of punter who's, going to legitimately like flip the game. But he executes what Ryan Ficken wants for the most part. And then unfortunately you just have some bad performances in the big game. So it's like, it's fine to me. I want to upgrade, but I don't want them to go out and be super aggressive with it either. So I get the frustrations from the big game moments, but Ryan Ficken, if we're going to trust that he is still that kind of caliber of coach, he handpicked J.K. Scott for a reason, and that hang time is very crucial for him and how he wants to build that up.
The other thing is, name the available punters for sure better than J.K. Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of fans will go, anybody's better than J.K. Scott, but I mentioned Jake Bailey. Listen, the Chargers could cut Scott and get Bailey, formerly of the Dolphins, but like their EPAs right next to each other.
Right.
So
right.
I don't know. Like if he's good enough in the rest of the operation and it's a wash in just the pure punt department, wow, whatever. But I agree. Like it would be nice to find a weapon as a punter.
Yeah, I agree. Athir with our next super chat here says that he has a serious question regarding Junior Colson. We know coach and our GM believe in him. Do we see them bringing someone else or go with him in 2026? So the linebacker situation for the Chargers is very interesting. Obviously, Denzel Perryman and Delshon Phillips are free agents. Troy Dye is still under contract. Marlo Wax will be back. Colson will be back. And he said his recovery is going well. He posted on Instagram the other day that he was doing pull-ups for the first time after having his labrum surgery. It obviously is a make or break season for him if he doesn't show this year that he can be a starting caliber linebacker, heading into year 3. Like that's probably curtains, unfortunately. So you and I both really believe in Marlo Wax. We want Delshon Phillips back. The Chargers do need one other kind of capable rotational piece. And if that's Junior Colson, that would be great. If it's another draft pick, we'll see. If it's bring Denzel Perryman back or sign somebody like Landon Roberts that we mentioned, or, somebody with a connection, they do need one more capable body, because I don't think you can just head into the next season fully trusting that Wax will be the guy as much as we are bullish on him. Troy Dye is much more of a coverage guy. So they need somebody else who can capably, handle starting caliber snaps. And I just don't think you can trust that Junior Colson will automatically be that guy, even though I'm at least holding a candle that he could, give them something going forward. I still don't want to give up on the draft prospect that we all loved. And so, it's just going to be, he's going to have to fight in training camp for a roster spot and show some real improvement from an instincts and a, reaction time standpoint in order for us to really trust him to play in 2026.
Yeah. If Phillips is back, which I would expect he would be, I think he's just on the outside looking in right now. I would project him to not make the roster. I think at this point, they're going to find other spots where they could use somebody else.
Yeah.
And if you have Phillips and what you have in Wax and you have Troy Dye, or there's your special teams group, I think Colson's on the outside looking in. He might just be it no matter what. I think he has to show something incredible in the preseason for him to make it. And frankly, he also just has to be healthy.
Yeah, the health thing is the biggest thing because he's had the appendix and then 2 ankle injuries his rookie year. Obviously, the labrum last year. He said there was something else. Either the labrum happened like early in camp and was bothering him throughout camp, I think he said, or there was like another issue that he was also dealing with. So, he's had training camp like fully healthy practices for like 2 or 3 weeks. Like it's just not ideal for any young player. So, stay healthy. If he can make the roster, potentially, give you some starting snaps in a pinch, that would be a real big improvement for him. But he's definitely behind the 8 ball now with what we've seen from Wax and all those other guys. And they could draft somebody, and I would not be all that surprised, if they wanted to take like a 3rd or 4th round linebacker. It's not my ideal preference, but I would get it with the way that this class is shaping up in that position.
Yeah, it's funny. I finally did a mock draft, and at every point, I was like, "Whoa!" My favorite defensive lineman's not there, but there's 2 or 3 linebackers in every round that I could take. No idea who they are. Probably won't watch them, but it seems like there's going to be options. So I guess I should watch a few.
Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna end up watching a few. Probably not the high end guys. I don't know if I want to like waste my time there, but yeah. Our guy Rick in here with a big super chat, $20. Appreciate that. Says, love and appreciate the content, guys. Been watching a long time and appreciate Tyler properly slandering Tyreek. That aside, if you had to choose between an elite blue chip interior offensive line or defensive line, which are you taking for all offseason ads?
Well, glad you appreciated the Tyreek Hill slandering. And honestly, our community was very, I think, pretty good about it, and actually very much appreciative of us talking about the stuff out loud, regardless of how you feel. It's good to at least, throw it all out there and be honest about it. As far as elite blue chip interior offensive lineman or defensive lineman, is this draft or I guess it's just offseason additions, so it doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah,
I would in free agency, I'm signing a center. In the draft, if assuming blue chip is like a 1st round pick, I'm drafting a defensive lineman.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many blue chip interior offensive linemen there are in this offseason outside of Tyler Linderbaum. Ioane in the draft is probably the closest thing there. Does he make it to the Chargers at 22 is kind of the big question right now. I just think that a blue chip defensive tackle, if you can find one, is so much more valuable right now than what an interior offensive lineman is. And we're seeing this kind of all over the league where, these teams who have true like math changing defensive tackles are all making, big postseason runs. And obviously like the Chiefs with Chris Jones are not to be discounted in that conversation. So the idea of pairing somebody with that kind of upside with Tier Tart and Jamari Caldwell and getting them to work with Mike Elston is just something that I just need to see it, man. Like I'm having a hard time whenever I do a mock draft, whenever I'm talking or thinking about like pick 22, I'm having a hard time passing on these defensive tackle prospects who I think could have that kind of math changing potential in this, great situation for players who I just don't have that same kind of feeling for, but they might feel like a bigger need for the roster, quote unquote. So it's just a position that I think this is where the NFL is heading, and the highest paid defensive tackles are closing in on like edge rusher markets. And so I just think the Chargers it's the one thing they're missing on defense. Like I feel good about where every other position is at. And not that I don't feel good about the defensive tackles, but they just don't have a blue chip, like potential Pro Bowler in that group. And I think that's the one thing that could change the ceiling of the defense the most is getting that kind of guy in the building.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think an interior offensive lineman, important, obviously, and you're in the right zone, right? Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, cool. I'm really happy with either. Yeah. But I think the interior offensive lineman with these guys, with Butch Berry, with Mike McDaniel, it's all a good, fine and dandy part of the whole system, and it's good. It makes the offense good, and that's great. An interior defensive lineman as a pass rusher, a blue chip pass rusher, those guys can change the entire game. An interior offensive lineman, I don't think is really going to change the entire game unless they're really bad. Whereas a really great pass rushing defensive tackle can end a game for another team, because I mean, again, if you have Owe, if you have Thule, heck, if Matt comes back, and then you have Caldwell, you have Tart, you have, I don't know, where are you at with Lee Hunter? Because I think he's great, but with Caldwell and with Tart, it's like, I don't know, if you just throw another freak on the line and see what happens, even though he's not quite a pure pass rushing type.
Yeah, I love Lee Hunter. One of my favorite players to watch in the draft. With the Chargers specifically, it is like a bit of a, you're elevating the talent level in your room, but you're not like solving the big problem, which is the pass rush. And, I think Tier Tart and Jamari Caldwell can be a little bit more flexible than Lee Hunter can. So it could work. And, the the idea of those three players being like your run defending defensive tackles, like you're not ever running on the Chargers if those three are your guys. So you're the good news is there is that you're getting these teams into really obvious third down situations with those three on there, or setting yourself up to have that potential. But you're not really adding that pass rush kind of juice that I do think that they need. So I think like the biggest thing for me is, the Chargers, when they had their three edge rushers out on the field, once Matt came back and Owe was back, they had like a 50% pressure rate. Like they were insane with that look. And the interior rusher in those instances, not that they were like non-factors, whether it was Henry, Boygby, but it wasn't a guy who also could really do some damage from a one-on-one standpoint. So if you can get those three edge rushers out there and also have, a high level pass rush presence, like who are you double teaming? You're going to double team the defensive tackle. Okay. You're going to leave the edge rushers all one-on-one. So it just changes the ceiling of the defense more than I think anything else on this roster could.
Yeah. Sort of, since we're on the topic, and I guess we'll get to our mock. I'll save it for the mock draft. I was going to ask you how you felt about Sadiq. I know you started watching him, but
we can save that one. I think.
Okay.
I want to watch more games about Sadiq.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of other tight ends and was not like a huge fan of those guys.
Who were they?
I watched Stowers from Vanderbilt. Was not a fan.
Him last year.
And then I watched the Ohio State tight end who used to be at Purdue. The Purdue tape was way more interesting than Ohio State, but was not like a huge fan. So obviously my guy Dallin Bentley from Utah is going to be somebody I am going to have pretty highly, and I think he's a good player. Not like crazy high. I'm not like going to put like a second round grade on him by any means, but I do think he is an early, fourth round kind of player. And right now I haven't seen anything from those other tight ends that makes me think he's just not better than them. But so this is I think there's a lot of day 3 tight ends in this class and one round 1 tight end in Kenyon Sadiq so far.
Yeah, probably not a great tight end group, it seems.
Yeah, there's a lot of day 3 volume, but there's just not a lot of high end talent there. Good question from Rick. Appreciate the big super chat as always, and hopefully we had a good conversation there. All right, let's get to some of these questions. This is one that I think is going around online right now because of all of the Linderbaum stuff. If the Chargers are not going after Linderbaum, what's kind of your preference there?
I mean, if it's not Linderbaum, then it is McGovern. But this question's asking, okay, then if not those two, then who's the third guy? And I haven't really gone that far yet. So my hopes are hanging on one of those two. I know people have floated on like Luke Fortner. I don't know if that's 100% a fit. Not super unathletic, but he's at least solid. But after that, I just draft one.
Yeah, Fortner is one that I've seen people talk about a lot. I mean, the Saints traded for him for like a 7th round pick after Will Clapp got hurt. Like it was not like he was really that kind of guy. Cade Mays is kind of interesting to me. He's kind of been more of a backup, but this past season he actually did start for the bulk of the season for the Panthers, taking over for Austin Corbett when he got injured in training camp kind of thing. And he played pretty well. The numbers look good, and from what I can look online, I'm not going to pretend to like watch a lot of Cade Mays Panthers tape, but the run blocking seems good. It's just really unproven for me, and I think for me, if I'm not getting Linderbaum or McGovern, I probably just would rather pivot to the draft at that point and then go pay 2 guards. Like go really solidify your guard spot. And then I think you have a really good center class this year. Go take a Connor Liu or a Sam Hecht or, whatever the case may be. I think those two are probably your round 2 or round 3 guys that I would prefer. And just kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think so.
Have you watched Lou yet? I know you watched Hecht and you weren't like a huge fan, but
I have not watched Lou.
Okay.
Hecht is he's solid, but I don't think he's like I don't love him. I like him. He's good.
I like him too. I think he's a round 3 guy for me.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to like in terms of his positioning. Like he's just really, really smart and sturdy and reliable. I think Connor Liu, while he doesn't have like elite upside, I do think he can give you like potentially like a borderline Pro Bowl kind of center type of guy. Certainly not like Creed Humphrey or Linderbaum or something like that. But I really liked Connor Liu's film. The question is obviously the ACL and how that factors in. But yeah, to me, if you miss out on the top 2 centers in free agency, I think you're in a good enough spot where you can go pay some guards, draft a center. Maybe you go sign like a different backup center to kind of, protect yourself a little bit with the rookie kind of coming in. And that's kind of where I would prefer at that point. Obviously, if you see any questions that you like, feel free and throw them on as well.
When the Chargers make the Super Bowl this year, I'll be buying tickets. I'm gonna guess my mom will buy tickets and we'll go. I personally do not want to buy tickets, but my mom would buy tickets and we go.
Yeah, I mean it's at SoFi, so it definitely is easier. Super Bowl tickets are crazy expensive, and if you're not paying for travel, it's a lot easier to justify for me. And so like if they had made the Super Bowl when the Super Bowl was in Miami, no chance I'm going. Paying for Miami flight and also doing tickets is probably not happening. But Super Bowl in LA, I will be there.
Yeah. Guys say I keep freezing. I don't know what's happening.
You're not frozen right now.
I don't know. I'm talking, but my lips are not moving.
I don't see you frozen right now. You were frozen a little bit earlier, but
it's
been fine for the last like 10 minutes ish.
Anybody?
Yeah. Tupapa wants to know what the odds are of the Chargers trading back. They will trade back at some point in the draft. Like they will not leave the draft with just the 6 picks. Like I think whether it's the first round, second round, early 4th round, whatever the case is, like they're gonna trade back at some point. Like they do not have enough picks for what Joe Ortiz wants to execute, I think.
What are you feeling a team would want to trade up for if the Chargers are trading back?
I think this year there's a lot of like offensive tackle types that could go in the 20s. Whether that's my guy Caleb Lomu or whether that's Freeland from Georgia or the ASU tackle or that kind of group of offensive tackles. I think that's probably the main one. So looking at the draft order, we can kind of like weigh that out a little bit.
Rams finally move up for a tight end.
Let's see who's behind them that needs a tackle. So the Eagles, obviously, like Lane Johnson is back, but he's flirted with retirement for the like 2 or 3 years, and he's been very injured. The Bears do not currently have a left tackle, and their starting tackle from last season tore his patella tendon in the playoff game or in week 18 or something like that. I forget. So they need a tackle. The Texans need a tackle. So somebody trying to jump up ahead of those guys to potentially take one. The Patriots, I know they have Morgan Moses at right tackle. Is that a situation you want to try and upgrade from? So tackle's probably the one where I would point to.
Are you buying that the Patriots are sticking with Will Campbell at tackle?
I wouldn't. I think after the playoff games, that's really tough to justify him, staying out there. I know a lot of the offensive line community have said the issue is more so like his strike timing as opposed to his arm length.
Right.
But what if the strike timing is just an issue again next year and you're just continuing to have a bad offensive tackle situation? So I would kick him in, and then Jared Wilson can go play center as he was, at Georgia.
Yeah.
And then you find another tackle, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Like it was, he didn't block any of the edge rushers he played in the playoffs. Like not a single one. Like it was brutal the entire playoffs.
Yeah, it's like one of the worst postseason runs ever.
Yeah,
sadly,
it was like 14 pressures allowed in the playoff in the Super Bowl game. Like it was bad. Like I think you try and like hype him up or whatever, and then when it gets to training camp, you're like, hey man, like let's maybe play some guard a little bit here.
Yeah, oh God, looking at his numbers, it was brutal. PFF was kind.
Yeah. Marcus wants to know, are we doing an interior defensive line draft class video soon? So we need to get to more prospects. I'm definitely focusing in on trench guys this year. I've watched a lot of offensive linemen. I've watched a lot of defensive tackles, edge rushers, starting to get to the tight end. So we'll focus a lot more on those positions this year, I think, than other years. But we'll see. Do I want to get to some day 3 corners or whatever? Maybe, but we will have our draft stuff going in the next few weeks for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm at like 10 edge rushers finally. I hate most of them or half of them, but whatever.
Wow. Okay.
Only because I just bounced around to, this random guy, like, oh, maybe this guy from Indiana is going to do it for me. Nah, maybe this guy. No. So I don't really look in order.
Yeah, you're not really looking at like the higher guys right now, right? You watch Parker, but
yeah, I watched Parker, watched Young, watched Joseph's. The fact that I could name them at least indicates that I probably do like them. Some others not so much.
Yeah. Marcus wanting to know, with all the offensive line depth free agents and Prob getting rid of Becton and Bozeman, how do we replace it all? So they'll have, I think, 2 like higher end free agents that they'll sign, whether that's Zion and someone else. I think they'll be a little bit aggressive there, and then they'll draft at least 1, I would say, maybe 2. And then you'll have smaller contracts for like Trevor Penning, Cole Strange kind of guys. Austin Dekus will technically he'll probably be back because he's a exclusive rights free agent tag, and that's super cheap and free. So they'll have ways to kind of overcompensate, but it is going to look very different next offseason than it did previously.
Yeah, I'm still pretty firm on them bringing back Zion, but we'll see.
Yeah. Had a super sticker here from Chris Buck. I don't know if
he told me I was frozen.
Okay.
Yeah, so thanks for sending in the super chat. So let me know.
Yeah, Andre James, I don't know, man. Like I don't know if the coaching staff actually likes him.
Yeah. He was only a Raider before, right? There was no Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. CJD wants to know if this regime would draft an Ohio State player. Semi-serious question.
I think so. I don't really think they would particularly care. I mean, they've drafted. I mean, I don't know. Notre Dame's not their rival, but they beat Notre Dame. No, they beat Washington.
He had a ton of Ohio State players at San Francisco, for what it's worth.
Huh.
He drafted Carlos Hyde early. There was a safety he drafted in the first round from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was pre-coaching at Michigan, but
yeah.
J.K. Dobbins, obviously Ohio State.
Yeah. They just haven't really had a chance to. It was Marvin, Jeremiah Smith. These guys aren't exactly. Tyleek Williams would have been nice, but too early.
Yeah. Marcus asking about Rashawn Slater and switching positions. So, regards to Rashawn's injury history, I don't know how concerned I am with like the overall aspect of him being injured a lot, because I do think some of these injuries are just like freak injuries. There's nothing like chronic going on here. In regards to moving the tackles, I think if Joe Alt had played the entire season at left tackle, you're not moving him. Like he was so good at that spot, briefly, but he only played in 5 games. Like he didn't really play at left tackle if you're like evaluating the whole season at that regard. So I'm not like dying to move the tackles. And I think with Rashawn's injury, moving him spots while also trying to get him healthy from that injury is probably just not setting him up for success at the highest level. I think you want him to be fully comfortable with where he's at with his knee. And I think that happens at left tackle just because of the muscle memory that he's built up over the last, 10 years of playing left tackle. So for me, it's like you're probably getting a worse version of Slater from the injury. But if you move him positions, you're also taking that up a notch potentially and adding some discomfort with his recovery process. So I know people think, a lot of people that I've talked to have said that Alt is probably going to be the better player, and I don't disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
His ceiling is much higher. But your best possible scenario here is that Alt is an elite right tackle. He's an all-pro level tackle, and Slater gets back to borderline Pro Bowl player kind of left tackle. Because he is at least comfortable there and his muscle memory is built in there. If you switch in positions, I think you're making it less likely that he gets back to form.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
LD Bruin wants to know, who do we think the first external free agent they sign is?
I mean, if it's Linderbaum, it has to be him. But we'll probably get some weird rando option like Charlie Kolar, which isn't random, but
Linderbaum or McGovern would be their only like real first wave free agents I see happening.
Yeah.
So if you're expecting the Chargers to sign like 8 players the day free agency opens, you're probably gonna be disappointed.
Yeah.
They feel very much like a second wave of free agency kind of team, and that's how the Ravens operated almost every year. Like every once in a while they would go out and sign kind of a first wave guy, but if they miss out on the centers, I think that's probably going to be a longer wait than a lot of fans want.
Yeah, last year, Najee Harris, Mekhi Becton, and who's the other big? Oh, Tyler Conklin.
Yeah, they're all the second week, I think.
Yeah. We had to wait a while for our free agency videos. It was just like, oh, they didn't get Adams or Metcalf. That was our first couple of days of free agency.
Right. Daniel Bridges wants to know Brian Parker for center. You have watched him. I have not.
Yeah.
You think
definitely not a tackle. No, God, no. Please don't put him at tackle. But he's a whip quick future interior offensive lineman. I don't know how you get someone from tackle all the way to center, how you make that transition, but the coaching staff, like, they can take the athlete and the run blocker. Cool with that. He just can't protect a corner.
Yeah. And he could still play guard. It doesn't have to be center.
Yeah.
Did he play anything else in college, or was he always tackle?
I want to say he was always tackle. Trey Zune played tackle for a little bit. Or not tackle, excuse me, center for a little bit. I think, where am I? Brian Parker? Nope. I'm going to accidentally say Trey Parker too. And PFS Frozen. Cool. Doing great, everybody.
I got it. He was a right tackle in 2025 and 2024 and left tackle in 2023.
Yeah. But yeah, he's an interior guy. It should be good.
Yeah. I watched oh my gosh, what's his name? I'm totally thinking right now. The Washington guy.
Willis.
Carver. Yes. Carver Willis. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Also not a tackle, cannot protect the corner. But dude, the run blocking tape was so much fun.
So fun.
Like he's an absolute bulldozer at as a run blocker, very
Mhm.
mobile. So like he
Mhm.
can get out on the perimeter and he's really effective out in space, but he just doesn't have the, I think, like the quick twitch to get out and protect a corner. He
Right.
also has some like anchoring issues.
Yeah.
But the run blocking was a ton of fun. I think he's like a very natural guard and would be a good fit in this kind of system. So not an early round player for me. I know Brandon Thorne has him like ranked 100 something overall.
Yeah. I think he's
Um,
third, fourth round target for him.
yeah. So that situation would be like you draft a center in the second round kind of thing, and then fourth round you circle back and take some kind of other guard. And I think Carver Willis would be a good option there.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's good. I like him more than Brian Parker for what it's worth. And I like him more than Keelan Rutledge. So there's that.
I was not a huge fan of Rutledge, honestly.
No, he's not gonna fit their type at all.
No.
I like him more than, I don't know. Who else have I watched? If you count Coogan as a guard, I like him more than Coogan.
Yeah. I think Coogan, he was a tricky eval for me because I watched one of the playoff games and it was really good. And then I watched him play against Oregon, and the Oregon defensive tackles just like ate him alive.
Yeah.
So the Oregon regular season game was a brutal watch. Like it was really, really bad. But his playoff game was really good. And I want to say it wasn't Miami. It was the one game before that.
Oh, geez. Ole Miss? No. Miami beat Ole Miss.
Was it Ohio State?
Sure.
It was the semi game. I forget who it was. Anyways, he looked like very much more a comfortable player, and it was the first time he's played center, and I think since high school. So he was a tough eval for me. It was very hit or miss, but
yeah,
I think I probably would rather have him play guard, just given him like his size. So I messaged Thomas Martinez this, but like his size profile kind of reminded me a lot of Will Clapp and has a lot of like similar issues as Will Clapp.
That's what Thorne had him as too.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah.
So I think he just has some struggles, like really getting to like climbing to the second level. And that's same thing with Will Clapp. And so I think I would rather just have him play guard where he doesn't have to consistently do that as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like probably a 6th round eval for me.
Yeah. So for Brandon Thorne, developmental prospect, 5th round, pro comp Will Clapp.
That's funny. That's funny.
Which I totally get it. You see a, solid player, but just not.
Yeah.
It's a capped ceiling for sure.
Yeah. If you sign a Linderbaum or a McGovern and you take him later, I think that's fine. But
yeah,
it wouldn't be like my preference that he stays at center. Miss Andrea Schoon jumped in here with a big super chat. We always appreciate her jumping in with the super stickers.
Yep. Went to dinner last night. It was real nice.
Very good. Where'd you guys go?
Water Girl. It's over by South Coast Plaza. So I had some scallops and then half the lobster she didn't want, which is, really nice. So it was good.
It's always good when somebody you're eating with orders something you want to eat and then doesn't eat it all.
Yeah, it's like, here's a lobster and drawn butter. Have fun. It's like, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. The company was
Alex
nice.
said first wave Najee Harris again.
God. What a roller coaster that was. I mean, first it was he's going to get a 3-year, $30 million deal. And we're like, ugh. Then he gets the 1-year deal. And it's like, oh, okay, not bad. Then 4th of July happens. And then we're just, I don't know, looking at pictures of him in sunglasses now. And then, of course, the injury, just a whole mess. That whole situation was a disaster.
I felt so bad for him when he popped that Achilles, man. Like I just can't imagine all of that summer stuff happening. You're getting back up to the speed of things, and he was looking good in that game, and then pop. So tough. Yeah,
that was unfortunate. He looked good.
CJH wants to know chances LAC drafts a wide receiver with QJ 5th-year option coming up.
When's the deadline to decline that? Is it like an owners meetings timeline?
The deadline for NFL teams to exercise the 5th-year option is May 1st.
Huh.
So technically,
So
they
have
could
to draft
do it
somebody
after the
first.
draft. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to draft somebody first. I think QJ is a solid comp pick game option for them, and they don't exercise it, and they let him walk. You still have McConkey for another year, next year as well. So, yeah, I think he's a nice future comp pick. I mean, if Josh Palmer can get $10 million a year, QJ can get a little bit more than that.
This is kind of crazy. The 5th round option projection for those wide receivers, it's all $18 million except for Zay Flowers, his option will be $25 million.
He's like a 2-time Pro Bowler or something.
Yeah, that's the exact thing. So,
oh man,
I think for me, you kind of approach this in a similar way as you did with Zion, where $18 million is a lot for him. But hypothetically, if you decline it and you can work out an extension that's under that number, I think you can do.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the ideal scenario here for the Chargers and Quentin's team. But if you don't agree to an extension and you mentioned see how the season goes, see how he adjusts to Mike McDaniel's offense, and then next season you either are letting him walk and for a compensatory pick or you re-sign him at that point. I think that's probably where I land at this point in time. And I think I'm more pro Quentin Johnston than others. I certainly don't think they should trade him. But financially speaking, I don't want to pay him $18 million either. So I think you decline the option and you wait and see how it goes, and then potentially do an adjustment or an extension, after next season.
Mm-hmm.
Nadir says that some Dolphins insiders are suggesting the Chargers are actively trying to get Aaron Brewer. Is that true?
I mean, you know how it is with this off-season stuff. And oh my gosh, this is suddenly, goodness gracious, if I had a nickel for every time the Chargers were trading for Tyreek Hill, I'd have like 50 cents, I'm pretty sure. But in theory, it's possible. I'm curious what his contract is. I know he's a free agent next year, so it's not like it's something that wouldn't make sense. That'd be insane, by the way, if they could pull that off, because his cap hit is significantly less than Linderbaum's would be.
I'm all in favor of that. He was just a second-team All-Pro center.
Yeah,
Obviously, you have scheme familiarity and you have the coaching connections and all of that stuff. He's been a really good center for Miami the last couple of seasons. I know that there were a lot of people like Duke had him as the best center in the league this season. And there were some people who thought that he should have been protector of the year. So I'm not seeing any of the trade stuff. For what it's worth. I'm 100% in favor. I don't know how much you would have to give up considering his contract is up after the season, but if that's the center that they want to go get, then go do it.
Yeah, I just don't see any team going. I understand why you cut Bradley Chubb and Tyreek Hill and all these guys. Trading Brewer sounds stupid. I know unless they think this season is just in the shits, which it might be, and so who cares? Yeah, because Brewer's a free agent next year anyway, so just accumulate draft picks. If they could pull that off, man, I'd be stoked.
So he only has a $6.45 million base salary, which is crazy to me.
Yep.
So they're not going to cut him. If they cut him, they would only save $1 million. So Trade depends on how much contract the Chargers or whoever would take on. A trade helps the Dolphins, I think, depending on what kind of capital you're getting. But then the Chargers are also probably doing an extension at that point. So, if you can get Aaron Brewer for a 3rd round pick, I'm probably okay with it.
You be completely honest. If you told me they got him for a 2nd, I'd also be okay with it.
Okay.
To me, it's like, okay, 2nd round pick for an all pro who's going to make $9 million this year. Sold.
That's fair. That's a good argument.
I mean, or Linderbaum for 22. Granted, it won't be that much this year, but
yeah. And they would do an extension for a Brewer for sure.
Yeah. And it's not like a great class, I mean, you can go with Lou if you want, but there's the ACL. It's not, there's no Frazier sitting there, so I'm open to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to it. If Nadir has these insiders and who they are talking about it, that'd be great. I did not find anything about that online. There's been some people have like speculated about a trade, but it's not been anything suggesting that the Chargers are trying to get him. So if you have those names or the links, let me know. Rick back here with another one that says, does the McDaniel scheme lend itself to being easy for a Connor Lew / Hex to immediately come in and be effective? Or is spending big in free agency worth the stability and figure guard out elsewhere? Thanks. So the Shanahan offenses all are generally simpler protection rules than somebody like a Sean Payton kind of thing. And it's why a lot of the Shanahan guys have been effective without having like high-end centers. Like the 49ers haven't had like a truly good center, I think, ever. Like they've cycled through like just these kind of like borderline, top 25 kind of centers, like guys who are just barely, in the league. So it's definitely an easier position to play in this offense. And so I do think it would be very friendly for a rookie to come in and figure it out.
Sorry, I was actually just looking at who these centers were for the Niners because I just realized I couldn't name one. Jake Brendel.
Yeah, it's not Murderer's Row at all.
couldn't tell you, man. Could I have any kind of priors on him? Brendel again. Wow, 3 years of a guy named Jake Brendel, and I've literally never heard of him until today. No offense, buddy. Wow, 2022. How long has this guy been their center? Oh God, Alex Mack before that. Good player.
Good player, but that was like the end of his career.
End of his career. Yeah, he's 40 now, which, yeah.
Oh, the Giants thing. I'm not touching that. Tier chart said he's still close with Brewer for what it's worth.
Yeah. Who else was the one that was? Gosh, who was the player? Was it last year? Well, I know Derwin did the JC Jackson thing. Please don't do that again. Gosh, there was another player.
Yeah. One thing I've learned from like media, like Radio Row and like the Pro Bowl, like Mike Dupps, is that these players don't actually ever watch other teams. Like they have no idea what's going on with like other teams.
Yeah.
Like there was a clip that went viral about Bijan talking about like the coaching hires, and he was like, "Oh, we have Tommy Reese as our offensive coordinator." And he was talking to Kyle Juszczyk, and Kyle Juszczyk was like, "Oh, I don't know anything about him. Like what's he like?" And I'm like, okay, so these players just don't like, they're not watching other players very often right now.
No, I get it. Just know your friends.
Yep. Peter says Water Grill is awesome.
It is. It is awesome. So it's always very well decorated, very, very nice, very solid restaurant. More fun when your parents pay.
For sure.
Yeah, life's always better.
Apparently there's an astronomical QJ payday report going around on social media.
I'm going to assume it's bullshit.
I'm assuming that's like an ML football thing or like a Dove Kleiman thing.
Oh yes, we can make it known. Dove Kleiman, ML football, JPA. Who are the other ones?
There's a draft stock watch or something like that. That's also bullshit.
Yeah, those ones, please. As we get into the off season, leave those ones alone.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look for this supposed payday, but I bet you have blocked enough people.
Evan Sideri, I think, is another one.
Who?
He's like another like Kalshi influencer kind of person.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Listen, Kalshi, send me $1 million. I got you.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, AI football content, awful.
Yeah, massive payday for Quentin Johnson doesn't make sense for anybody. Like,
no,
and I like Quentin Johnson. So is a massive payday like $15 million? Cool, that would be cool. But yeah, like Bolt Bros posted a screenshot on their YouTube channel. Okay,
all right, Bolt Bros.
Let me go see what that's like.
What are we pushing here? Have we followed the source? Is it their source? Like, did they come up with it, or is this a screenshot of someone else reporting?
Oh, it's an ML football screenshot.
Unbelievable.
ML football says that Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver Quentin Johnson is projected to sign a 4-year, $72 million deal this offseason. Average annual value of $18 million. The tweet says that Johnson is 24 years old and has emerged as a reliable wide receiver 2 with 8 touchdowns in recent seasons.
No, no, do not. Again, things can happen, right? It's not. I don't know that it's not going to happen, but I will never. We're not going to push ML football, JPA, all these guys. It's just, it is just poly market, whatever. It'll just throw stuff out there, see what sticks. I mean, it's unbelievable what people can just make up.
Yeah, ML football does not have any sources. They have I blocked them, but a few years ago, they messaged me about like Chargers intel, and then I would go and ask, and they're like, "No, that's not even remotely close to true."
Yeah.
So ML football does not know anything, and they just throw out stuff that they know is going to get rage baited or click baited. And Quentin, like, he happens to be a very social media driving force, I guess, for whatever reason. And that's just that kind of thing. So they are very choosy about which players they choose to post about, and those guys, they know that will get a lot of quote tweets and retweets and stuff like that. That's who they tweet about. So ML football, Dove Kleiman, JPA football, all those guys do not have actual sources. They're just making stuff up as they go for social media purposes.
What was the APY for Quentin's new deal anyway?
18 million per year was their projection.
I guess I don't know where they come up with this stuff. I mean, I don't know. What is the rationale? I'm trying to look at how they brainchilded this one. So it can't be 20, but it's more than Judy, so 18. I don't know. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about Bolt Pros, obviously. I'm just talking about ML football.
No. It just makes no sense. Like there's really no market for 18 million per year kind of player right now. The higher end wide receiver 3s are in kind of like the $13 million range. And then if you're a high level wide receiver 2, like Cortland Sutton's making $23 million a year. Devontae Smith is at 25. Michael Pittman's at 23. So 18 million is it's such a random number. It makes no sense to me at all. Like if I really thought that Quentin were a surefire high-end wide receiver 2, that contract is over $20 million. Like that's where the market is at for that particular position. So if he's more of a high-end wide receiver 3, you're talking about like $14-15 million at this point in time. So kind of where I think Quentin is as a player. So 18 it's so random, and
Yeah.
it feels very unlike the Chargers to go and do that kind of contract right now.
Yeah. And you would also be assuming that Mike McDaniel went, wow, you know what? Like, that's the guy I want to come here and work with. And that's, I mean, not that he can't be excited, but
Yeah,
you're telling me then that Mike McDaniels basically has huge plans for this receiver. And I just don't buy that at this stage.
Yeah. It feels very like the Chargers, obviously, with Joe Ortiz, have a lot of Raven influences, and he feels like a player that you decline the option, you see where he's at, like they did with Rashad Bateman kind of thing, and then they signed, a decently, nice contract for Bateman, but it was after the option was declined. So
yeah,
I think they probably would have done the same thing with Owe if they had not traded Owe, but yeah, no.
Bummer. Sucks for them.
Yeah. All right. Unless you guys have any final questions, I think that'll do it for us today. So we'll give you like the next 30 seconds to send in any questions, and then we'll head out.
You guys watching the Olympic gold medal game for hockey tomorrow at 5 a.m?
I am not personally planning to wake up that early. Brooke says that she's setting an alarm. We'll see what happens there, but she's been sick and sleeping a lot recently. So Alex will be up. He has an unfair advantage there. It's like 10
a.m. You lucky. Yeah, that'll be nice. I'll probably watch when I'm up by like 6 anyway.
Yeah. I'll start watching probably in like the second period.
Yes, I've been watching a lot of curling as well.
Yeah, curling's having like a moment online right now.
Yes. Everyone's doing their exercises.
There's a video of the Irvine police, like they're trying to do like an anti-drunk driving thing with like handcuffs as the curling thing. So like curling's like having a moment right now. It's kind of funny.
That's awesome. Spike in curling classes.
Yeah. T4 wants to know if Lance comes back as the QB2. I'm okay with it. I'm not like the veteran quarterback market is just not appealing to me. So I'm fine with it.
Maybe they'll cut Tua. Tua can be the backup.
Zach Wilson is a free agent for what it's worth.
Oh God. Go for
Rick wants to know top 3 fast food fries, assuming they're fresh out of the fryer. Go.
Ooh. Does Fuddruckers count? Because they also give you cheese dispensing. It's not fat. You can sit in. It's not fast food. It's a burger joint. It's
casual fast food.
Fast food fries, fresh out of the fryer. I really like the is it waffle? Yeah, waffle cut fries from Chick-fil-A. I just love that style. I used to like Cane's more than I did. In-N-Out fries. If it's just straight fries, no. Fresh out of the fryer. We just talking like you just as is.
My favorite fries are Shake Shacks.
I don't go there enough.
I like Shake Shack's fries. I still really like McDonald's fries whenever I go there.
McDonald's fries are good.
My like favorite French fries are Five Guys, but again, it's more of like a casual sit down one. Weirdly enough, like Del Taco actually has good fries. So
yeah, they do. You're right. Del Taco actually
has like a really good burger and fries, and it's like super. Like, it makes no sense to me, but
yeah, no. Sometimes I'll do a drive-through, like a Del Taco fries and like a strawberry shake, and they're good.
Yeah, Rallies are good fries too. Rallies are good fries.
Don't think I've been to a Rallies.
Brendan says he loves Del Taco fries. Yeah, like. Surprised me so much the first time I went there, and I was like in high school, and my friend got a burger and fries, and I was like, "Why are we at Del Taco and you're eating burger and fries?"
Trust,
they're good.
Yeah, no, they are good.
CJD wants to know if we would consider Parker Brailsford. He is similar to Brewer, I believe, undersized and very athletic. So there's Aaron Brewer undersized, and then there's Brailsford undersized. Like. Brewer's like a solid like 295. Like he's undersized, but he's not like crazy undersized. Alabama reporters said that Brailsford finished the season at like 260. 260 as an SEC starting center. And he's listed at 6'1", which really means he's like 5'11". Like he's tiny.
Goodness gracious. They just got like Fat Tyler out there. Like center.
Yeah. And he is athletic, but I don't think I just don't think that kind of size holds up in the NFL. Like I think he is very much like an undrafted free agent kind of profile.
Who is the guy that went to the
Rams?
Kid
from Buffalo?
Yeah, last year.
He ended up on the Eagles, I think.
Oh, so wow, he didn't even make it out of there. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the Rams cut him, and then I think he ended up on the Eagles practice squad or something like that.
Let me look at Nick
Willie
Hardwick's.
Lampkin.
Willie Lampkin
From North Carolina, not Buffalo. Different blue team. He's listed at 5'11", 290, and he's bigger than Brailsford.
For what it's worth, Nick Hardwick, someone mentioned in the chat, he's 6'3", 295, which is kind of Brewer, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Hardwick was built. He was he wasn't tiny. But
that's what I tell everyone about me.
Yeah. No. But when I turn on the Alabama tape, I look at Caden Proctor.
Enormous human being.
Enormous human being. And then I see Brailsford, who's like the smallest center I've probably watched in college football before. It was such a funny like whiplash. And some of the Bama reporters said that Proctor has like flirted with 400 pounds in the past. So very different kind of human beings on the Alabama offensive line.
You have Proctor as a guard?
Yes, firmly not a tackle for me at all.
Too slow.
Too slow. He can't get out against speed rushers at all.
Yeah.
But I was listening to Nate Tice and Chuck McDonald were talking about him. And McDonald listed off like all these players who are over 6'6" and like over 380, which is what he was like listed at. And the most successful player is it was like Orlando Brown Jr. Like it's just not a kind of body type that really sustains in the NFL. And we've seen that with Mekhi Becton. Becton was
case in point.
Yeah, Becton was I think he was an all rookie team and at left tackle. And here we are a few years later, and he's had a ton of injuries, and he's playing guard, and he's bouncing around different teams on lower level contracts. Like, I'm just not that interested. And, the film is very projectable to guard, but I just I'm not interested.
Yeah. It is amazing to me that Joe Alt was almost 6'9", but only 321 at the combine. I know he's gained some weight since, but he just looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's a special human.
Yeah. You could be tall or
Yeah.
you could be big, but when you are over 6'7" and over 380, like his chances of having a long career are just not very high.
What's Trent? Trent Williams was... I thought he was taller than that. 6'4",
Yeah, he's kind of shorter.
He just looks like a big fucking guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. He ran a 4.81 though. It's insane. 34-inch vertical jump and a 9-foot broad jump. Oh my God.
Almost 6'5", 315, 34 inches.
81st percent three cone. What a freak athlete.
That's nasty. That's nasty, man.
Trent's 101 for sure.
All
right. We got a good food question in, got some good draft questions in.
There we go.
We appreciate you guys jumping in on a Saturday. It was a fun one today. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll have some takeaways from Joe Ortiz's press conference at the Combine and anything else that happens in terms of like the media stuff. I don't know if Harbaugh will go this year. He did a lot of he went on the Pat McAfee show kind of stuff last year. I don't think he did like a press conference. So maybe he does that again this year. We'll see. And then Thursday, we'll have our first mock draft of the cycle and maybe talk about some other Combine stuff that happens next week. So we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. As always, bolt up.